Welcome, ladies and gents, boys and girls, to the new Modded Gossip podcast. It's a full reincarnation, wouldn't you say?
It is a full reincarnation. If you ever watched TechSentinels before, we used to sit at a table and talk technology and talk about things that were quite topical. And, you know, sometimes that got a little bit stressful because sometimes as soon as the Nintendo Switch came out, there was nothing more to talk about. So we're going down a different route this time. We're gonna be doing podcasts. There's videos, so if you can see, Ali is on that side. I can't remember which side.
I'm on the right.
Yeah, there you
He's
go.
on the
So
left.
I think it's that side.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And so we're going to be doing a podcast so you can see our beautiful faces. We're going to do it. We've got some subjects that we're going to talk about. We're just going to kind of shoot fish in a barrel, really. We're just going to chat about different things that we find that are relevant, that interest us. And I think we're going to start off. Have you got anything that you want to start off particularly first? Because I've got a long list. I've got like a scroll of things that I want to talk about. So.
No, I think you should start with one of your scrolls then. Let's go with one of your scrolls.
Well, my first point is recently, because PC gaming has become so popular over the last, couple of years. Because if you consider PC gaming like 5 years ago, where it was all very sort of held away, you know, like, if you're a PC gamer, you didn't really have friends. You know, Steam was there, but you didn't really play online.
It was niche, wasn't it? The social aspect wasn't there, I don't think.
No, it wasn't. But obviously, you know, Steam has been around for a long time, but the popularity of Twitch, I think, mainly has made PC gaming a lot more popular, because to become a PC gamer, to become a streamer, usually you need either a next generation console, so a PS4 or an Xbox One, because they have streaming facilities, or you need quite a beefy PC so you can run a game and capture and stream at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's why I think PC gaming has become a lot more popular. But things have... I'm going to take my glasses off because I can see my reflection in the... and it's kind of distracting. It's a reflection of the monitor in front of me. That's why I think PC gaming has become a lot more expensive, and especially as Bitcoin has become a lot more popular. That's another point that we're going to bring on later on. I think there are certain companies that are kind of bringing in their own sort of way to kind of cope with the... I don't want to say credit crunch. What is it? The one where they, things are tighter. Things are tighter now. The people don't have as much money to spend.
Yeah, not as much disposable income.
Yeah, disposable income. So there are websites around. So the first one that I want to talk about is like the bundle sites. The bundle sites. If you don't know what a bundle site is, where the hell have you been for the last 2 years? And what it is, things like Indie Gala. I don't really know many more by name, but there's a lot of sites. They basically offer a bundle of games for a certain amount of money.
Green Man Gaming is another
Green Man
example.
Gaming,
Humble Bundle, obviously.
Humble Bundle is the one that's, I think, is pretty much.
That's been going for years and years now.
Well, yeah, it has. Like, I remember the first time I ever saw Humble Bundle, which to be honest, it's not because I'm finding that's like, I'm not being favouritist to that, and I don't prefer them to others. But what I mean is, they just seem to be providing the better content.
They've always been for me, they've always been the mainstream bundle site.
Well, yeah,
they're the ones that can clinch the deals with the big developers generally.
The first time that I ever saw Humble Bundle, it was I think it was like Deep Silver or Volition Bundle. And it was like, I think it was about £4, right? And you got Saints Row 1 to 4, all of the DLC, Dead Island, all these other like games that I think it was Dead Island. But you got it all, and it was like, it was so cheap at the time. You think, hold on a second, how can they do this? And they're just Steam keys. You basically pay however much you want to a charity, and you get like a collection of games, games out of them. So, but Humble Bundle seems to be the one that's actually really sort of killing it at the moment. Like at the moment,
well, they normally have a theme, don't they? It's either a theme or it's a developer.
At the moment, Humble Bundle have got 5 bundles on the go, right? And I'll go through them individually and just why they are killing it, because in this sort of time when money really is an issue.
Money's too tight to mention.
It is. You can't sit there and spend 30, 40 quid on a game like every week because
30, 40 quid. Let's say 50, 60.
No, for PC, do you know what I mean? Like, even on the deals, if you go on things like CD keys, CD keys is a good one, but it's still still expensive. But there's 5 bundles on it at the moment. So you've got at the moment sci-fi and fantasy book bundle. So you go on there, you go through, and there's lots of visual books that you can go on. So if we open that up right now, we've got the screen in front of me. If you pay $15, you get there's a book there that looks incredibly like Dead Space. So it's £10.69 in English money, and you get 6 there, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 books, like audio books. Or no, sorry, they're not audio books, they're electronic books that you can use for a Kindle or Google Play. And 20 books for a tenner. Yeah. Right? That's insane. That's 50 pence a book. Even if 2 of them are good, that's the price of an actual book.
Oh yeah, in terms of bang for buck, you know.
Yeah, that is real bang for buck.
You see a couple you like, and it's like, well, it's great, and it's
silly not to pay that sort of money, because even though, 15 of those books might be duds, 5 of them are going to be pretty good. That's a pretty good return. And then you've got old games. There's the classics return ones that have been good ones. But here's a bundle here. It's electronic books, but it's all about how to code your own games. Right, so you go onto that, and it's all programming languages that you can do, like ideas, game development, HTML5, all books on how to learn. And if you go for the big one, you pay, how much are we talking here? You pay £10.69, you get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 books on coding and how to create RPGs in a weekend, online games, practical game makers, and that's fantastic. But the thing is, you don't have to buy, like, pay £10 for it. Like, if you just pay on this particular bundle, if you pay 71 pence. Now, what's 71 pence, Ali? What is 71 pence? What can you buy?
Well, you can probably buy a chocolate bar.
That's right. So a chocolate bar, right? And you make a 2D RPG in a weekend. So that's an electronic book that you can just read, even if it's on the way to and from work.
Yeah.
Online games pioneers at work. So I'm guessing that's all about the MMO sort of ideas and how to bring it forward. I don't think that's actually a coding book. But then you've got the Pro HTML5 guide.
Yeah.
And HTML5, as soon as Apple came on the scene, when they were like, no, we're not using Flash, we're using HTML5 for everything. It's become more and more popular, and now Flash really isn't.
No,
really
Flash is dead. I'd say Flash is dead.
It's dead. But there you go, 71 pence, and you can code your own browser games. Do you know? And that's bang for buck.
Do you know what else is good? Really... if you're a student, right, and you're getting into that, you've got a few books that you might enjoy reading in the sci-fi fantasy, and then you've got the games bundles. You could end up spending, I don't know, £3 or £4, and end up getting all this content. And yeah, I think it's really good value for money. Plus the fact that they support charities.
Yeah, that's my next point. If we go back onto the original Humble Bundle, so the one that's came out literally about an hour ago is a Brawler Bundle, and 13 days left. I'll go through onto the charities as well when I go through. So you can pay. I'll go for the top dollar one, because that's the only one that you really kind of go for, because you want them all, don't you? You want all the games. So £6.42, and you get Rivals of Ether, which has just come out, which I think is more of a crowd-funded game. And you get 3 separate Guilty Gear games. No, 2 Guilty Gears, a BlazBlue, Skullgirls, Street Fighter vs. Tekken, Arcana Heart 3 Love Max, which is a game that no one should play because it's really, really fucking dodgy. Are we allowed to swear in this podcast?
Well, I don't see why not. We'll just get demonetised. When eventually we can be monetised, so it doesn't really matter. Shit, wank face. There you go, done.
Right, there you go. Well, anyway, Arcana Heart 3 Love Max is a game that no one should play, because basically it's a fighting game that's based around kids that are under the age of 13.
Do you know what I find interesting about this, right? Because also the Humble Bundle gives you the Steam reviews, so you got very positive, overwhelmingly right, which is fun. And then the biggest title there is the one that's got the mixed reviews, which is quite funny.
Which is Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Street Fighter names. Capcom, the king of fighting games.
Controversial that is. Jeez.
Oh, sorry, I just hit the microphone.
You being a Mortal Kombat fan as well. I'm surprised you said that.
Oh, believe me, I prefer Mortal Kombat and Injustice to any fighting game that's ever come on the planet. There are great fighting games in the world, right? But Mortal Kombat and now this new Injustice has taken my heart. However, you can't deny that Street Fighter is the king of fighting games. Like, the amount that they've brought Street Fighter on.
In my childhood as well.
Absolutely. You think of a fighting game, Street Fighter.
But the thing is, they haven't messed with the formula too much as well. It's they've improved the graphics. It's still 2D. It's still got the same sort of flow. All
I'm saying is, like, for a difference with them, like Mortal Kombat, you have the core characters like Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, Raiden, all the ones from the first game. But then in the later games, because of stories that are crossing lines. Some of them aren't in it anymore, so you don't really know what you're getting when you get in the newer games. I just prefer them as a game as a whole. But with these newer games, you don't know what you're playing. With Street Fighter, you're going to play. You're going to buy Street Fighter. You know that you're going to get Ryu. You know you're going to get Ken, Chun-Li, Blanca. Guile. Even though in the newest one, it's a bit contrived because you have to. That's DLC for some of them, which is cheeky. Capcom, okay, naughty Capcom. So, but yeah, they are the king of fighting games. But anyway, all of those fighting games, £6.42. But you're not paying Humble Bundle as such, right? You can basically choose where you're going to put your money. You can choose like sort of what sort of percentage they get. So if we go choose where your money goes, there's 3 little sliders, so you can choose exactly how much money the developers get of your contribution, how much Humble Bundle as a website get of your contribution, but most of all, my favourite is charities. And every time that I've bought a Humble Bundle, I've always given the money to charities, not because I don't think Humble Bundle do a good deal or don't do good work, and I don't think that the developers don't deserve the money, but what I mean is the developers have already made their money from these titles. These are old titles. They're working on newer titles now, so they don't really need it as much. They're still getting it from Steam. They're still getting it from normal.
Yeah, I mean, this is fan service at the end of the day.
Yeah, this is fan service, and Humble Bundle provide a great service, but I know that other people will be putting all of their donation to Humble Bundle because it's such a great service, so my contribution is not going to be that missed. However, Direct Relief, which is a humanitarian charity, which is all about poverty and basically providing other people with better quality of life, which I think is that's a great charity to put towards, and the American Cancer Fund. Well, cancer is a fucking dickhead. We all know cancer's a dickhead, so that needs the help. Any sort of contribution that I can make, but even by getting games like this, I think that's fantastic. But these other bundles, sorry, I've kind of gone on a little
Go for it. That's what it's all about.
For a segue. From the other bundles, they don't offer these sort of services. Like sometimes, it's a charity, and then you think, okay, what charity is it? And it's going to be a very small charity. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was Indie Gala. It was you could buy the bundle, which was like really cool, okay sort of indie games. They were okay, I guess, but the charity was something really, really like niche.
Yeah.
It was. I think it was to the point where it was like a one-off charity. It was like a single, like location charity, this
right, okay,
one like a fund, like a so and so fund for someone, not like a worldwide charity.
Oh right, so like almost like a it's to help a certain person excuse me, with hospital fees or something like that.
It was that sort of thing, and I just kind of thought, well, I know you're trying to do a good cause and things like that, but I just feel a little bit, you could have put that to better causes. If you think of how much money is being put towards this, and how many people, for instance, Humble Bundle at the moment, this bundle has been bought for an hour ago 9,000 times.
Yeah.
9,000 times.
I just bought it.
There you go. So 9,001 times, but it's going up all the time. Since I said 9,000 times, it's been bought another 7. So.
And there's people there that there's been people that will pay £1,000. Give it all to charity and just take
it. That's it. Yeah, some of the contributors, you don't have to pay £6. Like for this one, you don't have to pay £6.42 for it. Some people, you can choose to pay $1,000 if you want. At the moment, the top contributor there's an anonymous donation of $25. So that's pretty good. That's way more. But I've seen Humble Bundles go for someone had, honestly, no lie, I think it was the Saints Row one. That's the same one that I bought. There was a contributor of $1,100.
Yeah, there you go.
So obviously you're paying way more than what the games are actually worth, but you're still helping a good cause, and you don't care what you're getting in return. People just have that sort of disposable income to do.
I mean, you can also buy them as a gift.
Yeah, you can also gift them to people. Also, if you have listened this long, the first think of a word, Ali. Any word. It can be as funny as you like.
Pumpkin.
The first person that comments pumpkin on this video, I have got a Steam code for Skullgirls for you, because I bought the Humble Bundle. I've already got Skullgirls, and it's a really good game, but I've got a spare one. So the first person to say pumpkin gets it free of charge. I will literally DM you the code. That will be yours to keep. So first person. Sorry, where was I? Oh yeah, Humble Bundle. So it's brilliant, and I think Humble Bundle is owning it. I do think Humble Bundle is a fantastic service, and no one can get close to it at the moment.
No,
They're
no, no.
even doing like partner, like where you can be a partner for streams and things. You can get like your own sort of you put forward to be a Humble Bundle partner, and then when people decide where the money goes, they can decide how much they want to give to the streamer that linked them there. Like you have your own affiliate link, so you could give $2 to the developers, $1 to the charities, $2 to the Humble Bundle, and $5 to the streamer that you found out about Humble Bundle from.
Yeah.
Like, I've done streaming before, and so has TechSentinels as a unit. We've done streams, and my Beardy Saurus channel has got the Humble Bundle partner thing. You just apply for it. You don't have to be anything special. You just say yes, I'd like to do this, and you do it. And you know it's been used a couple of times, and that's fantastic. And I'm really happy with that. But you kind of feel like that you're making a difference as well, you know. And it doesn't cost me anything to have that link there.
No,
You know?
no, exactly. And it's going to help charities. You're going to get a good deal on the games.
Exactly.
It's a win-win.
I can basically put that link on there, and I can see that how many people have bought it. And I think it's about 4 or 5 people, right? And I am totally okay. Basically, they've put all the things to charities, and they've given. There's one person. I think that the most that I got out of it was 30 cents, and the rest of it was on the rest of it. And I really approve of it. But the thing is, I already said on the stream that I don't want any of it. Just you need to go. You need to go to Humble Bundle to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and people they choose. It's another way of donating, which opens up the whole Twitch thing of how popular it is. You know, how everyone wants to become a streamer, and I think that's a good way to help the streamer and help charities at the same time. Humble Bundle is just the ambassador of good times on PC gaming on a tight budget, because there's no way that I'd be able to sit there and go on Steam and then buy these 10 fighting games just off the cuff. That would cost me probably well over 150 quid.
I think that's the other thing about PC gaming now, because obviously streaming has gone into the mainstream. People are looking at PCs, and they're not as intimidating to build as what they used to be. I mean, I used to build 486 machines, Pentiums, Pentium 2s, and it was crazy. Absolutely crazy in terms of combinations of hardware and picking the right memory and the processor. And nowadays, everything's near enough color-coded.
Yeah,
and it's cheap.
You can't mess up these things now, can you?
You can buy, for say 200 quid, you can build yourself a PC that will surf the internet, will print any documents you need printing, will record your voice, will record video, will run your smart home if you really wanted to, and it will play games. And it's just absolutely crazy, and especially now, looking at the new Ryzen processors, where they've got the graphics processor built in with the Vega graphics. It's unbelievable, because you need a chip, a motherboard, some memory, and a hard drive. That's it. You bung it all into a case with a power supply, and you've got a gaming PC that will play games now. So you could build one of these PCs, and it'd be great for a student, because they could even do basic video editing if that's what they're learning. Whether it be filmmaking, filmmaking or any media, with the Vega chip they could do that, and then they can go on the Humble Bundle and buy, you know, a few games, a few books, and they can run it all off the PC. And it's just a cheap way of getting into it, and also it's really cost effective as an all round machine that you use for all different things.
That's a really good segue for going into a next section that I'd like to bring up as well. You say it's for students and people that have, don't have a lot of money to spend, and the next point that I'd like to bring up is I think the reason why people don't have a lot of money to spend on new PC builds is Bitcoin mining, because you know that most of that would have gone on the GPU and the processors because of the recent.
Yeah, I mean GPU's king in terms of a PC. Generally speaking, you can use any CPU from the last, say, 2 or 3 years, and you're not going to bottleneck the best GPUs around at the moment. So, and yeah, this cryptocurrency craze, it's going to become harder as they mine for cryptocurrency and discover more of it. It then becomes harder and harder to find the remaining coin. So then they're buying more GPUs to compensate. You know, more processing power to find the more elusive coins towards the end of the kind of the mine, so to speak, and it's just driven all the prices up.
do you know a lot about cryptocurrency? Because it's something that I don't really understand the craze of it. You know, I understand cryptocurrency is this next big thing, but can you just explain like a little bit of what
right,
like
I'll tell you why.
In layman's terms.
I'll tell you why it's important. So, cryptocurrency is a form of currency that's based on a computer algorithm that encrypts the combination codes required. So, for example, if you've got a coin, it could be a string of letters and numbers. It could be a large code.
Right.
And when you mine it, you are trying to decipher these codes to then basically mine the coin. So in layman's terms, you're using a code breaker to decipher the code. When you decipher that code, that unique code then becomes yours. It's a little bit more involved than that because people can join up to cabals of coders, so they all get a portion of the coin, so to speak. But essentially the reason that it's so important and that there's a craze, because a cryptocurrency is in free market. It's not held by a bank. Therefore, its value can fluctuate, but the value of it isn't necessarily dependent on an institution. So if a bank goes bankrupt for any reason, you'll never lose your currency. It won't devalue or disappear based on the performance of a company or a bank. It's just really now at the moment it's on supply and demand of the currency, just like any other currency in the world. The only difference is you keep the cryptocurrency under your bed digitally, whether it be on a USB stick on your computer. That code you keep as a file.
Another thing that I don't get about cryptocurrency is like whoever started the cryptocurrency as a thing, what made it so valuable? Surely what would stop me from sitting there and then making a program of having loads of random numbers and be like, yeah, I'm going to value these at such a high value. All of you have to decrypt these. You know, how did that come about? Like, because to me,
it's the security
just algorithms.
Yeah, but these algorithms are beyond. It takes thousands of hours to decrypt. One coin in a certain cryptocurrency, or you've got thousands of people. Well, you've basically got thousands of people using hundreds of thousands of GPUs and all the processing power to decrypt it. So it's like brute force encryption. I don't know exactly how that works, but the important thing about it is it's ridiculously secure, and because of that, and I think because of the fallout of the bank's meltdown in 2008 with the recession, people are afraid to keep their money in banks because they could lose it all. It was never like that before. Before, okay, you got the recession and the depression of the 20s, but generally we haven't had in the Western world such a large explosion in the banks that's caused people to really worry about where they've got their savings. So it's just the problem with the moment is discovery. Once all the cryptocurrency is discovered, then it will float on the market and it will start to equalize in terms of its value. But
so basically it's supply and demand at the moment. People are excited, like when they get a Bitcoin, the reason why it's worth so much money is because there is so little of it around.
And it's decentralized. There's no bank holding it, there's no central government holding it. So it's not going to be influenced. All it will be influenced by, generally speaking, is demand and supply of that currency in a pure fact. It's completely decentralized, and that means that it's protected to a point, and it can be used anywhere at any time, digitally.
I don't know if it's just because I might be just having a veteran moment or something. I just don't understand how Bitcoin can be. So I'm on the Wikipedia page at the moment, so I don't know how accurate that actually is. But it says Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency and worldwide payment system. It's first decentralized digital currency. As the system works without a central bank or single administrator, the network is peer-to-peer and transactions take place between users directly without an intermediary. So from that, it seems like a very reliable sort of currency. But later on, it says here that it was... where is it? I saw it just then. Bitcoin was invented by an unknown person or group of people under the name of Satoshi Nakamoto, and released as open source software in 2009. So, for instance, I don't understand how it became so popular and worth a lot in a monetary value, that if we were very good coders, we could then create something that's got a lot of algorithms in it, and then release it to the world, and then say, yeah, well, if you can decrypt it, then we'll give you an imaginary coin. And then how did that imaginary coin then become so popular?
Well, but hang on, it's the same with normal currency. A £10 note sterling is nothing. It's a piece of paper. It's what it represents.
Is the price of the coins basically dictated by how much people want them? Not because what they're worth, it's because how much people are prepared to pay.
But you've got basic
to
economics.
Say that they have a Bitcoin.
No, I don't agree with that. It's the fact that if you discover a Bitcoin, at basic economics, you have got demand and supply. So, you go back 2 years ago, there wasn't as much of a supply of them because they weren't all, they're not all being discovered as you get further, because there's a finite amount of coins. That's the other thing. So you've only got a certain, let's say for argument's sake, it's 1,000 coins. Once they're all mined, that's all the coins there'll be. Now, most currencies of most countries, the way it used to work is that, for example, the pound sterling was, the pound represented a certain value of sterling silver.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that anymore. You've got inflation. So the pound over 10 years will be worth less in real terms than it was 10 years ago, and you can inflate that by injecting more currency into the market. You can't do that with crypto coins. Cryptocurrency, there's a finite amount. So generally, my opinion is, once it equalises, once they've all been discovered, they can be used all around the world at any time. You don't need a bank that will charge a percentage to process the payments. But there's a finite amount, so that value should then, in a way, that should almost equalise. Because you can't go, Bitcoin's got such a high value at the moment, let's put 1,000 more Bitcoin into the system. Which will then, in of itself, due to inflation, decrease the value. That won't happen.
Do you think Bitcoin will devalue normal currency? Like physical currency then?
I think eventually normal currency will become obsolete. Because right now, if I want to change, generally speaking, unless I go to another country and physically do it, if I want to change my pounds to euros, I have to go to a bank, and the bank will charge a fee.
Yeah.
Now, if I had a Bitcoin, I could go to France or Spain, I could spend that Bitcoin, and it would be worth exactly the same amount there as it is here. So it's a universal decentralized value to a decentralized universal currency.
Yeah, doesn't that affect trading though? Because
we're getting certain... Yeah. So in a way, that's why the euro doesn't work in Europe, because you've got different economies in different countries, and the value of goods and services are going to be different, and therefore you can't be competitive because you're using technically the same currency. It gets a bit deep, but Britain's a prime example with Brexit at the moment. The value of the pound is weaker because people don't want to invest in the currency. Our interest rates are low, therefore banks, organisations and private people aren't going to buy pounds to invest to get good interest rates in our country. That means that the demand for the pound is weaker, and therefore the value lowers. So it costs us more in real terms to get the same goods and services in any other country with our currency.
Right.
Bitcoin, you wouldn't have that. If Britain was based on Bitcoin, the value would stay static.
No, I appreciate that. I think that will do nothing but good. Still the same. I still can't seem to get my head around this. So, how much is one Bitcoin worth? Just
right now, I don't know. It was a few weeks ago. It's $10,000 or something stupid.
So, if we go onto counter, so 10,000. Oh, are you looking it up? Are you?
Yeah, Bitcoin current value. So let's have a look. Right. So at the moment, one Bitcoin is worth £7,692.65.
So we'll just put 7,693. And how many is there around? Do we know? Does anyone know?
Let's have a look. How many Bitcoins are in circulation?
Yeah, that's in.
Right. So currently there are 21 million Bitcoins that can be mined in total. So that's the finite amount. There's 21 million. Once they've been mined, that's it. How many are in circulation? I'll tell you that in a second.
Because the thing is, I've seen that local businesses are actually starting to accept them.
Right, here we go. So there's 16,888,000 bitcoins in current circulation.
So was it 16 million?
888,363 to be precise.
Okay. So
that's the current supply.
So some basic maths here.
Yeah.
This individual or group of individuals has managed to create a currency that has been made up, but is valuable to people. They have managed to create out of nothing, I'm just going to generalize it, $130 billion worth of currency here.
Yeah.
So just from sitting in a room creating this program or creating this these algorithms or this system to create, they've literally pulled this money from nothing because it's become popular. It's not. That's something that I don't quite gather.
Right. Well, it happened many years ago.
Yeah.
In 1875, to be precise.
What?
In 1785. No. When the United States of America was still a colony of Britain.
Yeah.
Britain was taxing the living shit out of them, right? And they were saying, well, hang on a second. But Britain, the empire isn't really contributing to anything. We want to be independent. Fair enough. And the way that it was so the pound was valued to a certain amount of sterling silver, but the king wanted gold, something tangible. Yeah. It wasn't currency, and they had enough of this. So what they did was create the dollar.
Right.
And they created the dollar to become America's own currency. But there was no face value to it. It was created from nothing.
Yeah. No.
Now you can say that the dollar is worth however much the gold reserves of America, essentially, but it's just a way to pay for goods and services. The only difference is, where things get a bit weird, is when the early banks started creating... when the early banks started lending money, you've got a finite amount of currency, let's say, for example, and they say, right, we're going to lend you £100, for argument's sake, and we're going to charge you 10% interest. Well, that 10% interest doesn't exist as currency.
That's true.
So... then you've got lots of people, let's say there's a lot of people, they're all borrowing £1,000, they've borrowed £1 million, there's now £100,000 of extra money that's owed. Got to find it from somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to say it's 10% of money that doesn't exist, but then that person would then have to get it from other places.
Yeah. But the point is that with a cryptocurrency, you can't manipulate it like that because there's a finite amount. It's no different than creating your own. You could create stew dollars, and you could print 1,000 of them, and then you could start distributing them.
That's the nail that I'm going for at the moment. It's sort of the reason that I don't understand how this much money, this much value, 130 billion.
I'll tell you why the value is there.
What I mean is that it's literally been made up. So if I sat there and just created that program, I could create 7, for instance, 16,888,363 stew dollars.
Yeah.
And then put it onto the internet and be like, yeah, you can do that. And then people started doing it and it took off. And then that started to get a monetary value. But the thing is, the reason it's kind of making me go a little bit weird is because the monetary value that this is worth is real currency. It's not this made up currency that we're talking about here. We're crossing lines here because we're crossing lines of a Bitcoin is worth 7,693 real-time dollars or real-time pounds, which then that kind of makes me feel a little bit sort of, well, how does that work? Because it's an imaginary currency, so it's the money that doesn't exist.
Yeah, but hang on, how much is £1 worth to the Bitcoin?
Oh, I'd pass.
No, but the point I'm trying to say is that currencies are made up. It's nothing. It's all
currency is nothing. But
yeah.
what I mean
So
is that with the physical currency that's going around, it's used in the country as the Queen's currency. It's got the Queen's head on it, and it does have like a monetary worth to it over the years.
yeah, but hang on a
You
second. The
know,
one thing you got to remember that Gordon Brown, a Prime Minister from 2010, sold all our gold reserves. So
yeah,
our pound has got no value to rare earth metals, which is what a currency should have. So you
no,
distribute. So if
that's
you've
true.
got 100 gold bullion, and you've got £100, £1 worth one gold bullion. And if you want more money, and you produce more pounds, but then they're worth less gold bullion each. So now all the currencies around the world are in the same state as Bitcoin. They're just nothing. They're not worth what they were. They're not worth any real value anymore because a lot of countries haven't got any reserves to put them up against.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's kind of.
So I see what you're saying, but what they've done is create a whole new market for this universal currency that there's a finite amount. You can't now manipulate that currency and inject more of it in. That's why it's so valuable, in my opinion.
But it's now, but to me, it seems like this Satoshi Nakamoto company has now become the treasurer of digital currency.
Well, there's a lot of different alt coins as well. Alternative
I've
currencies.
seen like things like Dogecoin or whatever it is, and
Zen and Zin, and
Zen. Like these are all just made up coins. You and I should start getting onto this. We should start creating our own coin and just putting it out there.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. That's the sort of road that we should go on. We can make a pretty penny out of this.
Or a pretty Bitcoin.
A pretty Bitcoin out of this. Yeah, we can make $7,000 or whatever.
I can understand why it's from because I did economics at high school, but
this is handy because if you didn't do economics, then I wouldn't have a clue what you're talking about.
No, but for me, the way I see it is it can't be
manipulated.
It can't be manipulated by a central government or institution.
No, I appreciate that, and I think that's really good, like sort of a way that you can't be fucked with.
You've got some countries
is worth that.
You've got some economic situations in Africa where there has been, or even you look at Japan, right? The yen deals in tens of thousands. That was due to rampant inflation.
That's another thing that kind of weirds me out with yen.
Well, because Japan had rampant inflation at one point, so it devalued the yen. So instead of, I don't know, if you asked for 10,000 yen, they wouldn't have a 1 yen note anymore because it's not worth anything. So they have a 10,000 yen or a 5,000 yen note. You go to some countries in Africa back in the 80s, and there was such high inflation, they'd have to give you a suitcase worth of notes to get a taxi.
Yeah, that's ludicrous, though, isn't it? That's such a.
But that's why inflation in the UK is very low at the moment. But you could go to a country where it's, say, the inflation's 10%, so every year that currency is worth 10% less to real goods and services. The only difference with Bitcoin is that they'll never be able to do that they will never be able to inject more money into the economy. There's only 21 million coins.
Well, that's the thing is that's a very interesting points that have been brought up with Bitcoin, but I think with that a little bit better understanding on my side, this is going to be a very one-sided conversation. But I think we should move on to another point. But it's very good food for thought. Bitcoin is one of those things that I had no clue about, and I have a little bit of a better understanding of Bitcoin, and I know how honourable it is, and I know how useful it has the potential to be. I will need to do some research, but it's very interesting things to think about. Do you own any Bitcoins?
No, I should have. I never got on the bandwagon.
Did you? I wouldn't know the first thing about how to get them.
I was going to set up a mining rig, but it was just, at the time, it was too much of a risk because the amount it could have cost in electricity, because you're running your GPUs at like 100%, and you're running 3 or 4 GPUs, it could cost you £100, £200 a month in electricity, and I wasn't willing to take the risk at the time, and now it's just too much money, because, well, it isn't too much money. You could still buy GPUs now and make money, but it would take a lot longer. And as there's now, there's all different alt currencies, but to be honest, I don't know which ones are good and which ones aren't. I don't know which ones are going to be worth more or less. For me, I leave it up to the guys that have got money to risk, because I find it personally. I think it's a bit of a gamble. I don't know enough about it, and I haven't got the sort of capital needed to invest, say, £5,000 or £2,500 in a rig that I could then
for a potential return of only 3,000.
It might only be a potential,
£2, nothing.
No, I don't believe that. But you might only get a profit of, say, £2 over 6 months, because the value could change so much, that you end up not making anything.
Did you hear about 50 Cent, who's now a Bitcoin millionaire because he accepted Bitcoin for his album like 8 years ago, and then now he's got like however many Bitcoins and he's just rolling in it because of it. He was bankrupt and now he's not.
Yeah, no,
because he just decided on the cuff to go, yeah, I'll accept Bitcoin too. Yeah, why not?
If I was in a business where I was selling a high volume product in the millions or something, then I'd accept alternate currencies, just because. If I can take a hit of, say, 10% on the profits, those coins could be worth 100,000-fold what they were. Then it's worth the risk, I think.
I bet the people that bought the album, the 50 Cent's album back in the day, thinking that Bitcoin was nothing or was worth nothing, are now kicking themselves because they technically, if they paid 1 Bitcoin for 50 Cent's album, I dread to think if it's even more than that, then they just paid $8,000 for his album. For a $13
when you put it that well. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So you don't know how much he charged?
No.
He didn't sit there and go, yeah, get 50 Cent's new album for 1 single Bitcoin, because then now it's totaled up that he sold 1 album for $8,000, and that's.
Well, no, because it wasn't $8,000 back then, because you could say, right, okay.
Oh no, back then it wasn't. But what I mean is now that these people are kicking themselves, because if they didn't spend Bitcoin and they just spent the $15 at the time, they would be $8,000 up because they'd still have that Bitcoin.
Yeah, but hindsight's 20/20. Christ, I couldn't think like that. Oh my God, I know what you're saying, but oof, no, thank you.
I know you'd end up killing yourself, wouldn't you? Really, if you kept doing that, you just wouldn't wake up in the morning. Another thing I want to bring up is still Bitcoin sort of related. It's Bitcoin flavored.
Right.
It's the GPU sales. It's GPUs basically. All of the Bitcoin miners that are just buying up the GPUs, and for gamers like you and I, because we're not Bitcoin miners, we never have been, and I certainly never will be, because I just don't want to be, and I'm pretty sure that you won't as well.
No.
For us to get all the newest cards and all the newest video cards to actually play games and actually, enjoy PC gaming, and, for me personally, it's rendering these videos and things like that. I've now got to pay a hell of a lot more money than what they actually retailed at, because all these Bitcoin miners are buying up all these cards so they can make up these mining rigs.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they make a mining rig and they buy... So, for instance, I'll put it in layman's terms, because I quite like layman's terms. I think it's quite nice, right? So if I go into a store and they have 10 NVIDIA 1080 Ti's, right? They have 10. And I go in there, expecting to get one of these 10, but these 10 have been already bought straight off the shelves by Bitcoin miners, because they need them. They've spent that massive amount of money at the beginning because they know that they're going to get a return. I then don't get a 1080 card, so then I return the next day, even though the return, the turnaround wouldn't be that quick. But I return the next day because there's going to be another 10, and they're already gone. And then suppliers are now going to sit there and go, these are flying off the shelves, right? We could get more money out of this. So then they up the money. Well, and then you try other places, and then people are. The competition are going to various different places to get these cards, and then they're gradually pushing up the money. And now the new Vega card at a second-hand store, which I'm not sure if I'm allowed to name, it retails, I think, I'm pretty sure, off the top of my head, I think it's about £700. Second-hand, you can buy it for £920 purely because of Bitcoin.
Right, here's a prime example. This is hilarious. So I'm on NVIDIA's website, UK website, and the recommended retail price now of the 1080, GeForce GTX 1080, which I bought on release, I bought a Founders Edition, £530. It's out of stock, right? They're limiting, I think, it's 2 cards per buyer right now. But it's out of stock.
I think.
It's out of stock. So you then click buy from partners. So I've now got a list here. The Gamewood NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080 is currently at £1,346.
Come on.
No, for example, the Gigabyte GeForce 1080. That's just a 1080. It's ridiculous. Now, no, they're not selling for that, but it's the fact that it's even got that.
It's
on
the
there.
audacity that it's come up at that price, because they know that someone somewhere is like, oh, if I can't get this card, maybe this one will do. I'll pay that little extra money because they have got promise of return.
Yeah. So okay, the 1080 Ti, perfect. So this is the newest card out, and interestingly, we haven't heard anything from Nvidia for their new line of graphics, whether they're going to release anything this year or not. The 11 series or whatever they want to call it.
Got an article up here that goes, Nvidia tries to limit GPU sales to cryptocurrency miners.
Yeah.
And then they try to protect gamers by saying that miners can't buy more than a certain amount of cards. But you brought up a very good point earlier on, which I'm going to go on to into the next point. Is I don't have any proof on it on my screen, but you said that they were thinking about bringing out a completely separate range that were literally based around or like marketed towards
for miners. Well, you know how for professionals they've got the Quattro series.
Yeah.
CAD, media, anything like that. So they're looking at maybe they did say they were going to develop a different sort of card that was. Basically, it's a GPU. It's not going to have any display outputs.
Right.
And it will be, designed to chug away at trying to decrypt currencies, because you can get crypto boxes for a specific currency, and they're really expensive, but they're a lot faster than a normal GPU at that one currency. But the moment that currency then becomes worth shit all, or it's all mined or whatever, then that box becomes worthless. So,
yeah, because no one's going to be needing that anymore, so they're just going to it's just going to crumble and die, really, isn't it?
So yeah, I've gone on to the partners, right, of the 1080 Ti. So the 1080 Ti is £680 recommended retail, and the cheapest one on their list of 5 partners, where you've got EVGA, Gigabyte, Palette, Zotac, $899
Shit.
on that on the first page.
That's ludicrous. No gamer, especially no sort of budget gamer, can afford that sort of money.
Oh no, I mean this is the 1080 Ti is high end, but I would not pay, as an enthusiast, I'll pay top dollar for a GPU, but I won't pay over. I'll just wait, because that's just outrageous.
No, I agree. It seems like that when I built my rig, for anyone that doesn't know, if anyone watched TechSentinels before, you know that I built my PC rig with Ali, and for a lot less money than what it would be worth now, purely because of the GPU. So my rig cost me about, how much was it? About $1,100 to make?
Yeah, I think so.
And I swear to God, right, if I decided to make it now for the same amount of money, there is no way that I would have a 1070 in my card, in my PC. No way. I couldn't afford it. 1070s alone would be 3/4 of the budget.
Well, 1070s are one of the most expensive for GPU, because they're the sweet spot, apparently. 1080s, you don't get as much performance for the power draw. And obviously what they're fighting against is using as little power as possible with the amount of decryption as possible. So, yeah, 1060s, 1070s, they're quite big. The Radeon RX series, the 560s, 570s and 580s. I built the PC at just the right time, it seems, because there's no way I'd be able to afford a machine like I've got for the money that I paid for it. And for anyone that doesn't know, I work for a second-hand store, the one that I was referring to earlier on. I'm not going to go into it, but I paid that sort of money with discount. Like I had to rely on discount to be able to build my machine. So if I didn't get discount as well, that there'd be no way that I could have. The thing is, this is spilling into the second-hand market.
Yeah, of course it is. Like people are then, people don't know the value of money. It seems that people will buy a graphics card. Like the regular Joe will go in there and they'll buy, or someone will buy like a 1070. If they don't know better, and they're like, oh, a 1080's come out or a 1080 Ti's come out. Oh, I'm just going to trade my graphics card in for 150 quid, so I can get that 150 quid off the 1080 Ti.
Yeah.
Oh, that seems like a good deal at the time, doesn't it? They don't know that they've got. But the fact that 1070 that they traded in for 150 quid, now retailers and like partners and second-hand retailers have the cheek of charging up to £600 for that £150 card. That's an amount of money that you just can't ignore.
No.
You can't sit there and think, yeah, don't mind taking that hit. It's not like you're losing £3 off a game that you've got, or like £20 off a brand new release that you finish and then you come in and trade it in. You're like, well, I lost £20, but it was quite fun. You know, that's half a month's wages if you're on minimum wage. Do you know what I mean? That's,
yeah. Oh yeah.
If you're on minimum wage, that's a substantial amount of money, especially if you live on your own. If you live on your own, that's big. You can't.
I never pay for PC hardware outright. I always
there's so
have
many different avenues that you can go down. There's so many different.
Well, the next graphics card I buy, whether it's the new GeForce model or whatever it is, I'll be able to trade in. I reckon I'll be able to trade in my card for probably half, if not 2/3 of the value of the new one. So I never pay the value.
I don't, honestly, I'm kind of knowing the business.
No. I'm not saying trading. I don't mean that. I mean I'll sell privately. What I'm saying is I'll trade that value.
Yes, of course. Yes,
I will trade
agree,
that
100%.
value for the new card. I won't just buy it outright and have this card languishing. No way. You know.
I was going to say, as a second-hand business worker, I know that they would rely on people that don't care. They just sell in their rig and they will pay rock bottom because they will give cash straight away.
Oh, if I had the time, I'd be leeching outside of those places and be waiting for people to, you know, especially ones that pay cash. I'd be like,
so
no, what are you selling? Are you saying, I'll give you £10 more than their cash price.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Everyone's a winner, and then you can, if you had your own store, for instance, or your own sort of shop front, that you could do that, like an eBay business.
Yeah.
It's exactly what that business, you know, thrives on. They thrive on people wanting cash straight away.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm pretty sure you know what sort of business I'm talking for, and I'm not slating the business. Great business. It's a great model. It's more of the people that use the business don't know the value of money, and the thing is, you're wasting so much money. You know, especially with graphics cards. Like now, I couldn't believe how much the Vega's worth. Like, I think the Vega is a good card, but I don't think it's that much. The amount of performance that you get from the Vega is not worth the price tag.
No, the highest Vega
pushed up from Bitcoin.
The highest Vega is below a 1080, I think.
Yeah,
but to be honest, it's the fact
they never advertise themselves. They never advertise the card as being better than the 1080, though.
No.
That's what surprises me.
But and it uses more power, funnily enough. So I don't understand.
It's a better card overall, isn't it?
No, but I mean with Bitcoin miners, I wouldn't use one because it's using more power for less compute performance. But you look at the PC market now anyway, you can get a PC from 3-4 years ago and you can still play AAA titles from this year. You know?
Oh man.
They won't have the highest settings, but it's, you know, especially 1080p gaming, because that's now, people are starting to move away from 1080p. But if you don't, or it's 720p, you pay at 720p on a screen native 720, you're going to get great experience with a 3-year-old card. And with really good graphical settings. So I think that's the difference. The PC gaming isn't as much of a niche. Year in, year out, it's becoming less and less of a niche. And the performance is much more easily transferable each year than it used to be. Because you just get, you know, you'd have games like Crysis that came out, you know, over 10 years ago, and the highest end graphics card would still not be able to run it on the max settings. And that's just crazy, isn't it? You know, you look at that and you think, well, shit. What kind of situation am I in there? But now it's not like that. You can have a really, really good experience with a card that's years old.
Games that used to be such gems. For instance, Crysis 2 and Crysis 3. Like, if you've never played Crysis, you should, because it's fantastic. But they pushed systems 5 years ago. You know.
Yeah.
Well, Crysis 2 pushed systems 5 years ago, and then you play Crysis 2 now, right? And it still looks like it pushes the systems. It was an absolute gem of a game. It was gem. No one can deny that. Crysis 3, story-wise, wasn't as good, right? But graphics-wise, a gem. And you just can't compete with that sort of thing anymore. Like, they don't make the graphics that, you know, that clean and crisp.
Well, not just that, there's games that are more optimised. Look at Doom with the Vulkan engine.
Oh, Doom is a completely different story. That's a different story.
So it's all it is about optimization. And you look at PUBG, that's a pile of Horseshit.
PUBG, yeah. I'm going to use this as a little sort of segue onto our channel.
Segue!
If that's okay. We need a little sound effect that I might try and find later on. But anyway,
I thought mine was alright.
Well, yeah, we'll use that. Can you just do it one more time so I can sample it?
Segue!
I'm going to cut that out and we're going to use that.
Great.
So our new channel, which is called Modded Gossip, we've got different things that we're going to be doing on here. So obviously we've got the podcast, which we're going to be doing every 2 weeks, I think, or are we going to start doing it weekly? We're not sure. It depends how much work goes into the other videos, but we're going to do things called what was one of them called? You know, bet you can't play this, or I'm going to make. Or,
yeah, so we've got we've got obviously we're going to do the game reviews, aren't we?
Well, the game reviews are going to be separate. So basically, we're each going to play the game, and then we're going to have a rating system of said things. You know, we're going to both play the same game, and then be like, oh, so what will, for instance, what will Ali rate? Graphics, games. Yeah, we've got the documentation of what we're going to go for.
So we've got the game reviews. That's fine. We've got out of the comfort zone.
Out of the comfort zone. That was the words that I was doing because I knew that we had a really catchy title. I just forgot about it. So out of the comfort zone. So what happens is we're going to challenge the other person to basically play a game that's out of their comfort zone. So for instance, I don't know if the first one's going to be like this, but the first one will be Ali. He really likes real-time strategy games. He likes RTSs. He likes things like Total Warhammer, Rome. They Are Billions is another one, which is a really good game.
First-person shooters, I love.
Yeah, he loves first-person shooters.
I hate JRPGs.
So, for instance, he hates JRPGs, and I am not a massive fan of RTS games. I don't like them. But out of your comfort zone, I'm going to be playing one, and I'm going to be trying my hardest to try and succeed in these games, and there'll be footage up, and then I'm just going to basically explain the experience, and it's going to be reversed. I'm going to make Ali play something that he doesn't usually play. Like, you know, he doesn't usually like JRPGs. He said he's not interested in them, but I'm going to find a good one, and he's going to have to play it, whether it's gratuitously violent or over-sexed with anime and things. But
the key to this challenge will be trying to convince each other to break through to the other genre. And so we have got to choose a game for each other that we think, right, yeah, we like this game, but you know, for someone who hasn't played this genre or doesn't generally like it, would it be the breakout title to get them interested? I think that's going to be the challenge.
Yeah,
finding that game.
But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing on this channel. So stay with us and push the subscribe button, give us a like and a comment and everything, just to basically keep updating on what we're doing. But anyway, onto the segue that we're going on to is this podcast will keep running. Like we will be doing any random subjects that we find topical at the time that we're interested in. If there's anything that you want to hear, obviously, let us know. But I think we should get back to the old scroll that I've got, because we're only a third down of my notes. I've got 2/3, and we've been on for an hour. So
Note on.
So there's things that I kind of wanted to bring up, like very, very quickly, is apparently there's going to be a porn check deadline. So for you to access pornographic content, you're going to need to sign up to a website to become a member of said, like a list, to basically get onto things like porn. Now, pornography is okay, you know, if you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. But I just wanted to kind of know your opinions on, like, if you want to see pornographic content on pornographic websites, you are going to have to sign up, give your bank details, give your name and your personal details, not to be charged or anything, but just so you're known on a list. Do you, like, my overall question is do you think people will succumb to that sort of way of thinking and be like, yes, that's absolutely fine? Or do you think people will search for other avenues to look for porn? Like, for instance, will they go to things like Reddit, or do you think forum websites like, is it 4chan or 9gag or whatever it is, the weird one?
Yeah. But they'll not. That's net reg. That's net regulation. It won't happen now.
No. But what I mean is, or do you think that they will go on to things like the dark web? Because that's a dangerous place. If
they start regulating the internet, which is, you know, they've had a lot of issues with this in America, haven't they? Off and on about net regulation. It happens in China. It happens in North Korea and other countries. Yes, of course, there's some dangerous things that can happen on the internet. Some illicit things. But you start regulating it and you put in barriers up like that, people will circumvent them easily.
This isn't so much as a regulation for it. I think it's to prove that the person that's viewing the content is actually over the age of 18. So
yeah, but you could say on television, you can have a film that's an 18 on late at night. Where's the regulation? The TV doesn't scan the person and go, well, you're 12.
And I agree, but what I mean is like content that you're accessing in real time. Like that's why they don't show pornography on television. That's why it's hidden behind a pin wall.
I think that the internet should work the same as television. That parents should be responsible for their children, and that they should become tech savvy enough to be able to stop the children from accessing that sort of information, that sort of content. There are ways to block it, on whether it's on phones, PCs, or anything else, but it will. Like when I was a kid, I saw stuff that was inappropriate. Wasn't my parents' fault. It wasn't the internet.
We've all seen things that are inappropriate. Like, you know, I'm not going to name them on here right
Watching
now.
Terminator 2 in 1991 when I was 8 probably wasn't the best thing.
That's the same as me. Like I'm not going to badmouth my parents. I love them very much. They are big inspirations to me. But they let me watch RoboCop when I was about 6.
Yeah.
And that's quite violent. Thing is, I would like to think, you know, some people would sit there and make a joke and be like, oh no, yeah, but you turned out bad. But I don't think I did. You know, I saw extreme violence for the time. Like we were talking about early 80s. Well, no, like early 90s, sorry, late 80s. You know, I was open to that sort of content. It was just available, like RoboCop, Terminator, and all these different sort of 80s action films that were around. They had some extreme violence, and I don't think it affected me. To me, I just liked them more. It's nostalgic for me. You know, that was the golden age of filmmaking.
I think there's a problem with the lack of education on sex.
Well, yeah, I think parents and are just becoming reliant on, you know, when I was a child, like when I was a kid, to get me to shut up or to get me to actually do things, you know, my parents would talk to me and they would tutor me and they would let me play things like video games, but then I would have toys and then I would have books to read and I would have all these things to try and gather as much, like soak up as much knowledge as possible. But it seems like in today's day and age, if you have a child, if you want to basically have some private time, which currently now is quite a lot of the time, they just slam them in front of the TV and just let them watch Peppa Pig where they don't pronounce words properly. You know, you're teaching them the wrong things.
I think that's happened for years, though. Even look at the Teletubbies.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, that was before my time. I was,
yeah.
You know, it has started right from back then. It's people now see that the television not as anything for knowledge or entertainment. They see it as just a cheap babysitter. Yeah, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, but there's
now
tablets.
You can see it in yeah, but you can. Well, tablets now.
I was in a coffee
the
shop.
thing.
I was in a coffee shop, and there was a mother with 2 children, and they were probably 3 and 4, maybe a little bit older, and they were just like zombies on the tablets.
Yeah.
And I'm a great advocate of technology, but that isn't parenting.
No, it's not at all. It's not at all. But you can see the generational sort of jump about, you know, me. I like to think that I've got a lot of respect for people. I will hold doors open for people. I would never ever dream of shouting out at someone and saying, "Oh yeah, you're fat," or your clothes are nasty, or something like that. You know, I wouldn't do that. I had a sort of an element of respect because I was brought up correctly. You know, I'm not going to say correctly. You know, that's probably not.
Well, could you say
right
there's a generational gap then?
But I see the generational gap as the fact that the younger people, I'm not going to turn this into a rant as if I'm an old man, but you see younger people now, they just shout, they do anything that's violence, you know. Kids don't have any respect, and that's because I don't think they have had the sort of one-to-one time with their parents enough to be able to be taught right from wrong.
So do you agree that it stems to this regulation of pornography then?
I do believe it does. Like if you regulate it, you know, and you only let adults on there, then I don't. Well, on one side of the card, I don't think that many people will be putting their bank details or passports online. So
it's George Orwell's 1984.
Yeah, but on the other side of it is
starts with
if you don't have a bank account or don't have a passport or don't have that sort of means to prove that you're over 18 because you're not over 18, at least some of it is protected. Some of it is protected from your eyes. But that's not going to stop people in today's technological age of going elsewhere for it. There are so many other websites. If you sit there and you go into Google and then you type in boobs and then turn safe search off, right? Surely that means that Google has then got to be regulated. You know, because
No, but that's exactly. It's complete net regulation. It would be.
You can't just regulate porn sites, because porn, whether it's soft or hard, is everywhere in life. You know, you look at an advert like now at the moment. I've got a website up about this porn industry, giving you details. And this is BBC News, right? And there is an advert on the right that says "hot singles in your area."
Yeah, exactly.
Now, that is just basically randomly generated adverts that just come up. There's different ones that are like, oh, you're looking for a gazebo or something. You know, there's different ones, but it's like, oh, dating sites seem to be popular. It's there, but that's the feeling they're putting forward. That feeling of, oh, you are a sexual being. Are you being satisfied? Singles in your area. You weren't thinking about it before, but now you're like, oh, singles. Oh, if I'm single and there's other singles, that kind of promotes, oh, there's sexual pleasure there, isn't there? You know, sex is everywhere. You go in video games. Like, let me tell you, like, there's so many games. Fighting games are a good thing. I'm going to talk about fighting games just for a few seconds. That you go into a fighting game, no matter how good the fighting game is, you can absolutely, positively fucking guarantee that there is going to be at least 2 females in there that are wearing next to nothing. Because sex sells.
The problem is, right, sex is essential. It's rooted in the core of human beings, obviously, to procreate, right? So we get that out of the way because that's obvious. So children need to be educated. They need to be educated on why they shouldn't be watching it, what it's about, essentially not pornography, but what sex is about, why it's there. And I believe a lot of parents don't educate their children properly. The same with alcohol. So you look at alcohol. My parents never educated me about alcohol. They never sat me down and said, oh, it's just one of these things. Or smoking, or, I think schools should play a part. I think that when you're getting to 16, 17, you should start to be introduced in a controlled manner to these aspects and just taught to understand.
It's something you can't avoid.
And I'm not talking about classroom theory, I'm talking about real world. Yeah. Because
sitting them down and saying you will experience at some point in your life drugs like being put upon you.
It can be anything. It's all different spectrum of drugs.
Yeah, it's anything.
But you look at I don't know.
I've been around a lot of people that have taken drugs.
Substance abuse, alcohol abuse, sex abuse, food abuse, anything in excess.
Well, yeah,
schools aren't protecting children against addiction. They're not educating them for the things that they need in life. You don't learn how to change a tyre in school. You don't learn how to pay your mortgage. You don't learn how to get new insurance for your car or something. The point I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of theory in there, but I don't think schools in this day and age prepare children directly for life.
No.
And I think the whole pornography, regulate it all you want. It's easily circumvented. I don't care what they do. There's always a way. Virtual private network could stop it straight away. Unless they send...
stopping your geographical location.
Yeah. You just use a VPN, change your geographical location, then get it from another country. It would have to be like China, where they actually state-own the servers. Or they take direct control of the internet service providers' global tunnels.
So, for instance, I'm with BT, which is a British company. That's my internet provider. Do you think that when this comes in, they will literally just block all porn, or do you reckon it's just UK?
No, I think it would be.
Go on.
It's all about net neutrality. So the way they'd have to do it would be that if you put in a key search parameters, that would all have to be funneled through BT's filtering, and then it would block you from going to any IP with any of that on there, which would then put you to a page whereby you have to claim you are who you are. I'm not any sort of web developer, but I'm sure it would be some sort of filtering system like that. It would be a firewall.
Do you think this will stay?
No, it's not going to happen.
Because apparently it's April 2018 it comes in. There's a date to it.
There's
too many factors. There's just too many factors that go against it. If you start regulating,
every ISP will have to agree.
Well, yeah, but
and every phone company.
You nailed it on the head. You said, if they start doing it with porn, right? What about the television? What about video games? What about all these things? Because they're not scanning the person that's watching it, right? Okay, you proved that these people can prove that they're over the age of 18 watching porn, but they don't actually know that the ID that they've used is not their dad's. They found their dad's ID.
No, exactly.
Just
so what
like
is it going to become?
They don't.
Everyone has a fingerprint scanner? Or my iPhone,
Yeah.
then the fingerprint scanner is the way to prove who I am to the government? No.
They're going to sit there and be like, oh no, every machine has to have a webcam so we can judge it. You know, I'm sorry, if I was going to go and watch porn, I don't want someone looking at me through the webcam while I have my like pecker in my hand, you know, sitting there just making sure that I'm over 18. I would just be like, well, I'm not doing it. I'll draw a picture of boobs and I'll have my fun.
But
time,
you look at government and technology, right? So, for example, TV license, which I think is appalling.
Yeah.
It's a license for the infrastructure and transmission of live television. So why is BBC iPlayer in there? Oh, I'll tell you why. Because the TV license funds iPlayer.
Yeah.
So it's complete hypocrisy. So generally I don't trust the government because they've got the foot in the door. They've now said iPlayer is now included in that cost. And everyone's just accepted it. So now everyone pays. And I think the problem is that if this happens, this regulation happens, it won't stop with porn.
Do you not think?
No, I think you'll be having to put your thumb on a scanner, or you'll be having to put your detail. I don't want to just input my card details into a government website for identity.
It's just too much, isn't it?
The internet should be neutral. It should be the parents that educate, protect, and prepare people that are underage. I don't think I don't like the fact that the government could literally become Big Brother.
It'll happen.
So
The cyberpunk era is coming. There will be a rebellion. I
well,
know.
let's move on. Next subject. What have you got? Let's
Right.
continue with
The
yours.
next subject is literally moving to a similar sort of thing, and it's VR experiences. It's VR, PlayStation VR, about how it like morphs the line between fiction and reality. Everyone knows what a VR is by now. If you're watching this, you know it. You know what a VR is. But anyway, there is a lot of things that have kind of made me feel a little bit weird about it. So if I go on to, where is it? There is a new VR experience that's available for PlayStation VR, right? And there is a separate one that's available just for the Oculus Rifts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The PlayStation VR one is, have you heard of Dead or Alive, the fighting game?
Yeah.
They are making a VR experience, or have made a VR experience for the new Dead or Alive beach volleyball. So you can sit there and watch the girls bounce up and down as if you're right in front of them, and you can move your head and check them out. And, you know, to me, I feel that that's just going way over the line. You know, you're bringing... Sex is now becoming too much of a part of the virtual reality experience. Going back to the previous thing that we were saying about the porn check, deadline approaching, how are they going to then vet the video games? How are they going to vet this? You know, because it's out. It's already out. People aren't...
Yeah, but hang on. There's no pornographic material in it.
No, but what I mean is it's one step up of it.
Oh yeah, no.
on,
But
like,
there's a technicality here, isn't it?
It's still stuff that you wouldn't play in front of your mum.
But you do realise that in Japan they've got a VR handjob simulator.
Oh no, that's the other thing.
So, you know,
No.
it's...
That's in Japan, but what I mean is this Dead or Alive has had a Western release.
Yeah, well, no, it's all about, again, it comes back to what we were talking about. It's about parents being savvy and being educated on the content they're buying for their children. I
But
know...
then when these children then play these games, are they going to have to enter in their details to make sure that they're over 18 advertised
Yeah,
on
but
the case? They can't enforce it. That's what I mean. They can't enforce that sort of thing. That's why, as you say, that's why I think net neutrality is literally just going to go thrown out the window.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if a kid's got a PlayStation, the parents should be creating an adult account and then limiting the child's account. And that content will be limited via that account, and then PlayStation will not allow them to play or buy or view anything under that age restriction.
But the other game that kind of caught my eye for the wrong reasons is if you've got an Oculus Rift or an HTC Vive, one of the new games that's come out is the VR girlfriend simulator, where you can simulate having a girlfriend, right? I've got it up on Kotaku, and there's screenshots on it, and basically it's your girlfriend, who's in a very skimpy sort of school uniform sort of thing, is sitting at her desk doing homework. She does look of age, I will point out. It's not like she doesn't look underage, so don't
She's
even
doing
go there.
homework.
She's doing homework, so she's sitting at a desk
Okay.
and you are in wherever you are, just relaxing. So it's more of the fact that if you're sitting there just relaxing and your girlfriend is in the same room, she's doing something else. So it's as if someone is just there.
Right, yeah,
Right.
fine.
And then you scroll down a little bit more, and one of these girlfriend avatars is basically bouncing up and down on the bed, looking down on you as if she's having a tantrum. All clothed, but she looks like she's having a tantrum, as if you're having an argument or anything. Then there's another one where she's bringing you a drink and bringing you dinner. You know, she's kind of bringing you something to eat or drink. You know,
Okay, yeah.
dressed in her skimpy outfits. And then you go down, and then it's a sex simulator.
Oh,
And you can actually have sexual gratification and sexual experiences with this virtual girlfriend. Now, that, basically, it gives you what you want. It gives you full-blown sex, slightly pixelated, but still realistic. And it gives you a feeling of intimacy. Now, a point that kind of makes me a little bit concerned is that if games now are replacing real people in the fact that they give you intimacy, there is actually a problem in Japan, isn't there, with the population now? Because people are now not going to other humans, they're now relying on things like anime, and so you can marry an anime character legally in Japan.
yeah.
the
The Japanese will actually become extinct in so many generations.
That's exactly it, and I
However,
think they're not helping themselves with this, because this is literally it. You've got a virtual reality girlfriend. You can't have children. You can't start a family. You can have good, short, sexual gratification, and you can have warm feelings in your heart about you're going to go home and talk to your girlfriend. But if you have a power cut, you've got no one to talk to. You've got no one to tell stories to. You've got no one to spend a life with, because your girlfriend, if you lose your save data, that's gone. How bad is that? That's
your girlfriend's probably stored in the cloud, and it might actually reduce the amount of divorces in America. It's like 40%.
no. But what I mean is, it may reduce the amount of divorces in America and in Japan or whatever, but it'll also really significantly drop the amount of actual marriages that are actually going on.
Well, I think the problem, I can't really comment on this because I think the Japanese have got such an alien culture to me in the way that they view things. I can't really understand it. From my point of view, I know what the real thing's like, and it's infinitely better than anything that's virtual. But I can understand there could be people out there that may want to stray from their current partners, and this might give them a diversion. Bit like a holodeck in Star Trek. Give it another 50 years, and then you could have a holodeck where you could have any sort of fantasy, whether it be sexual or not, on that, without the risk of anything else.
Do I have permission to read out a little segment of this VR girlfriend experience?
Go for it.
So, went on sale.
I want it in your sexiest voice, please.
No. One scenario is studying. It's really just a thinly veiled excuse to watch your girlfriend lounge around in whatever outfit you choose for her. Regular clothes, maid outfit, or nothing but underwear and stockings. At the beginning, my girlfriend, a doe-eyed young Japanese girl whose response to pretty much anything is to squeak, saw a cockroach and climbed up on a chair, squeaking. When she had calmed down, she declared that she was bored of studying and went to lie on the bed. Once she did so, she started glowing, and it turned out the glowing was an invitation to touch her anywhere I liked.
Oh my god.
Whether PG or R-rated, and watch her squirm and squeak in that coy sort of way that means she was actually enjoying it. Now, that to me is blurring the lines of fiction and reality, because then I feel that people will start to fall in love. And if they fall in love like this, it can really affect someone mentally.
Oh, I'm more concerned.
Because they don't have the companionship of real life.
What about the negative impact about the way you treat a woman?
Well, that is it. You can't just sit, because they glow, you can touch them. What does that mean? If a girl sits there and runs for a long time and has just stopped working out and they're glowing because they're out of breath and they've got red cheeks and sweating, well, does that mean that you can touch them? You're giving them the wrong fucking impressions, and I think that's terrible. And they should stop. They should stop even giving these sort of experiences, the light of day. Like, whoever thought
it's
this
a
was a good
business
idea?
model, mate. So they're going to want to make money.
Model. But it's going to get to a point where it's going to be like Mad Max. They're going to look back in the past and be like, do you know what? We just shouldn't have made those decisions because now there's no one around.
Yeah.
They all married cartoon characters. You know, that's disgusting. But thing is, as you say, sex sells. But anyway, let's move on onto a slightly more positive note, but equally as depressing. Recently, well...
Nothing's just equally as depressing. I love it.
It's equally as depressing, basically. There's a group of Japanese YouTubers, such as Hikakin. Don't know who he is, and I don't care, honestly. Basically, a lot of Japanese YouTubers, because YouTube is a big thing in Japan. Like, it's really massive. They have now, there's a selection of people that have now released their own brands and own foods. Like, YouTuber crisps.
What?
So this guy, this Hikakin guy, I'm watching a GIF of him eating his own brand crisps that he's just received a box of, and he's one of the typical YouTubers, you know, like that Logan. No, I won't say Logan Paul because he's a fucking bellend. But you know that where they do those blog videos, and it's lots of like
Debbie.
cuts. Yeah, sorry about that. I punched the mic because I'm so like, you know, angry.
What flavour are they?
I don't know. The bag reads YouTuber Chipusu.
Oh, so they're not kaki flavoured.
The crisps are lightly salted flavoured.
Right. Okay.
And in each bag of crisps, apparently you get a card with a picture of these YouTubers.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
And they've all got videos advertising these things. There's kids loving these YouTube snacks. And basically the packaging is the packaging is laid out as if it's a YouTube, you know, like a sidebar.
Right, okay, yeah.
So you've got thumbnails of all these like YouTubers in various things of, I presume, as their videos, plastered over this packet. So basically they've taken the cheapest, shittest, lightly salted crisps, so ready salted crisps, put these famous YouTubers on it, and I bet you anything that they are not as cheap as like the own brand stuff.
I think YouTubers, yeah, but YouTubers are like the next film stars, aren't they?
Well, I understand.
They're more accessible, mate. They're more accessible. So you've got these people with extreme fame, but you can actually contact them.
Well, let's take Russell Crowe, for example.
Yeah.
Lovely guy, right? He's really funny on Twitter, as you say, right? But he will release a film, right? That is an hour and a half of content, for instance, for that person. Then he might have a few interviews, but he's got a private life. He's got a personal life that he goes to.
Yeah.
These YouTubers can literally release a video a day, 2 videos a day, 3 videos a day, and they're always in the public eye.
Because they're reality shows.
That's why they're becoming so popular, is because they can produce content at all times. And I have, you know, it does suck. I have watched a few YouTubers like this and just got bored of them instantly. But you watch the content and it's like brainwashing. They rely on childish sort of like voices and movements. There is that YouTuber that I showed you the other day, that Run for the Cube, that mispronounces all the names, and he just reviews sweets. And he's got, I don't know, 500,000 subscribers just because he pronounces things funny. And you think, what's the world come to?
Well, you don't know what the target audience is, though, do you? It could be children. Honestly,
yeah, but the thing is, come on. Look at where is the talent now? No, please just tell me where that talent is.
Oh, it's not talent, it's originality.
And how much push that he's got now. How much influence has he got? So if he releases a video every day of him
he
talking
could make
like
or
an
break a
absolute
product.
dickhead.
He could make or break a product.
Of course.
So.
But then he could sit there and go, a company could go up there and be like, yeah, I've got this really shit sweet. Can you review it in your funny voice? And then instantly he's talking to 500,000 people. And if he says it's good, this shit product has now become top of the line. Because this one guy that can't talk funny, that can't talk right, he talks funny, has kind of endorsed this product.
Yeah, but who do you blame? Do you blame society?
It's the people.
Do you blame...
It's not the YouTube, because if I was doing that and someone was going to go, I'll offer you some money to do that, like, fuck would I change my way? If it was popular, I don't blame the YouTuber, I just blame society for following it. Like, if I spoke like that and had a YouTube channel that was that annoying, right, and people loved it, I would keep doing it,
yeah, what's the solution, though?
But there is no... The people just need to fucking stop being dickheads. Like,
now you're sounding old.
I'm getting on a rant. Like, there is no talent there. That's like me just sitting there having a video of me just going,
I'd watch that for
getting
$1.
500,000 views and then 500,000 subscribers, and then like, oh, I suppose I better put out another video, and I'll go just dance funny on a video, right? Get another fucking 500,000 views, and I'm getting paid to do it. And literally, where's the talent?
But you could say the same about reality TV stars. I think that works the same way because they just live their lives and that's it.
They live their lives, and the reason why they're so popular, why they've made so much money, is because they are entertaining to watch, right? They're entertaining for some people, but not for others, which is exactly the same as that Run for the Cube. Some people love watching that channel. They think it's entertaining, but then you think, you're all idiots. Yeah, honestly, I can't stress why people would watch channels like that. There is so much good content on the internet. There's so much knowledge, and there's so many people that are so talented that don't get the sort of exposure that they need. Like, it's just a real shame.
But it's difficult to I don't know, trudge through all the sewerage to find it sometimes.
Yeah, I just think I'm ashamed of the human race sometimes, that they are the ones that have become popular when there's so many talented people and talented, you know, knowledgeable people that just get unknown. And then
there's so many better things to do than watch that. Instead of watching a 10-minute video on some idiot describe a sweet, I'd rather go and learn a new skill.
That's right.
Or read a book. Or learn a language. I don't know. But there's a lot of procrastination now, and it's because it's so easy. Kill some time. When's the last time you sat down and just looked out the window?
Or me personally?
Yeah, for example.
It's actually a couple of days ago, but that's because I quite like it.
But you know what I mean?
I quite like my own time. Like, yeah, I don't know, but, you know, there's so much things that people miss because they're stuck watching this sort of shit. Like when I'm on the toilet, I'm not going to get vulgar, so don't worry. But when I'm on the toilet, everyone's got a phone, haven't they? You sit on the toilet and you look at your phone. And some people, they'll, you know, I'm not saying all people like go for this whole Run for the Cube and all these other stupid, like immature things. Some people will sit there and they'll learn and they'll read something, or they'll watch something that entertains them, but then that has some sort of skill or talent or good entertainment factor. You know, if you're watching a film, okay, it doesn't take any talent to watch a film or to be in a film where you're blowing stuff up or killing people, but there is talent there because there's editing, there's filmmaking, there's sound, and there's different things. You're appreciating the art product, but you're watching a YouTube video on the other side of that where someone's just got a camera and he's stabbing a sweet with a pair of scissors going Eli, Beli, G-Li, whatever.
I think that came from Vine.
Oh, it probably did.
That whole format of these quick, talentless laughs came from that.
That's how that Logan Paul got famous, wasn't it? He made those Facebook videos. Yeah. And he is just a prime bellend. No, I'm not.
Yeah, but he's been exposed. No, but hang on, he's been exposed. If nothing else, you can see he's been exposed.
But there was, you know, he did a public apology. I promise I'm going to keep this short because I don't want to talk about Logan Paul on our podcast. But he did an apology about showing that dead guy on his post.
Yeah, and then look what he did after.
And then monetized it.
Oh, did he? I thought you were talking about the. You know what he did after that though? Yeah, he electrocuted a dead rat. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm sure he's having a breakdown, but he monetized an apology because he knew people would watch it because he messed up. It's all a big fucking conspiracy, I think, man. Like,
I think he tried to sensationalize it and create bad publicity because it's good publicity. Because at the end of the day, people are going to find out who he is, and he thought, "Oh, this will boost my." And then YouTube went, "No, not this time." He's off the recommended list, isn't he? I think.
Well, now he should be anyway. But anyway, moving swiftly on. Anyone still play Overwatch? There's a lot of people that do play Overwatch.
Toby Larone's daughter. I can never pronounce his name. That's what I thought you were talking. That's it. Toby Larone.
Japanese Twitter. Overwatch Japan. Sorry, not Japanese Twitter. Overwatch Japan Twitter accidentally confirms Torborn's daughter is next hero because they have a running not joke, but they have a running thing of basically they'll show little videos and then they'll introduce characters which then end up to be playable characters. I'm not really sure because I haven't followed Overwatch for a very long time since we started playing competitive and I got way too angry and started throwing stuff around. I don't know what sort of skill that she have, but on her arm she's got a cog tattoo, which I can only imagine is going to be some sort of steampunky mech thing, or she's going to be pretty much the same as Torborn. I just wanted to throw that in there because I think that's quite interesting information, considering that came yesterday at 7 p.m. So that's really hot news.
Hot off the press, folks.
Well, there's another picture as well. I don't know what her name was. I didn't read. Oh, hinting at Bridget as the next playable hero is the name.
Bridget.
She's got like apparently her name's that. Has got a sort of mechanical hammer that kind of morphs a little bit.
That sounds like Toby Larone.
Yeah, but it's like a mechanical big hammer, like like I'm guessing sort of Reinhardt sort of size, but I don't know. I couldn't actually speculate on such things. But do you still play Overwatch, or would you ever go back to Overwatch considering the changes?
I still play. I haven't played lately. I prefer playing when we play together, to be honest.
I think we should go back to it for maybe some sort of nostalgic video.
I mean, I do enjoy it a lot.
A stream or something like later on at a later date. But yeah, no, it's a really good fun game.
Here's one for you that I just want to bring up quickly.
Yep.
2 Batmobiles are coming to Rocket League next week.
Do you know what? Rocket League is a sore subject with me at the moment.
Is it? Oh, they got the Tumbler and the '89 Batmobile.
Oh, the Tumblr is already in it, I think.
Oh,
no, the Batman versus Superman one is in it at the moment.
Right, so they got the '89 Batmobile and the Tumbler.
Well, I think that's great. It's good cross marketing there. But they brought in the first Batmobile, the one from Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do any mods to it, and you couldn't really, you couldn't put anything on it or change the colours or anything. It was the Batmobile. You used the Batmobile. Fine. And it was cool. But it got boring. But they also did it with Back to the Future. There's other things. They did like a Mad Max one as well, but it wasn't actually Mad Max. It was, I can't remember what it's called. Like Road of Fury or something. It was quite close to what it should be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And but they do all these like crossovers and things, but everyone always sits there and goes, yeah, this is really cool, and they'll charge like 4 or 5 quid for the DLC. No, I don't think it's that. It's probably about 3-4 quid for the DLC. So you can sit there and go, yeah, I've got the car, and then I'll just never use it, because people don't, because then they're just not as familiar as the old cars. If you actually plan on doing well at Rocket League, you use one of the original cars because you're used to them, because you've played with them so long.
Yeah, I can understand that.
If you change car, whether it performs the same or anything, because it looks foreign, it will feel foreign. And
but they've got to put some sugar and spice in, haven't they?
They should just bring in new maps all the time, and I think they're doing a good job of actually doing that. They've got I can't remember what it's called, but it's like an arena where they have like new, like wireframe maps to basically try out like different shapes of pitch.
Right.
And they'll bring them in. They'll bring them into the game, and I think that's cool. And they're always doing it being an esport and being so much money. I originally bought Rocket League when it was free on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
Because I was an avid supporter of the first one, supersonic acrobatic rocket powered battle cars, SART BC. And then when the sequel came out, I was all over it. And then it came out on the store, and I think it was like 8-9 quid. And then it went to like 13 quid. And then then a hard copy came out, and then that was cool, and that was 15 quid. And now, because of its popularity, it's now 35 quid.
Right, I see.
Now, it's now got a AAA price tag for a single A game. Because it's a fantastically optimized game, don't get me wrong, but it's still just football with cars.
Yeah.
There is no new content as such. There's just a new map here and there. And £35, I think it's, they're really checking in on that. Oh, they're like, oh, it's a collector's edition though. And you get 3 old DLC packs that are now out of date. It's like, okay. The same with Rainbow Six Siege. That was really expensive. Then it was really crap because it wasn't a very good game.
Yeah.
Like before. Then they did an update to it, and then now it's an esport, and now it's 40 quid second hand. And you're like, that's just ludicrous. But it happens. But Rocket League, I'll always have a soft spot for Rocket League, but that's when you get crossovers like this. It's because they want people to get interested in them. There must be some sort of new Batman announcement that's coming out now. Like this, to bring the Tumblr in, there must be some sort of special edition of the Dark Knight trilogy that's about to come out.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't play Rocket League.
they released Back to the Future, the Back to the Future pack, for the special edition Blu-ray. It just seems like they're doing it particularly, and you think, oh, really?
Right, here's some other gaming news then. That's going to be a sore subject again.
Give it to me.
So the new GeForce driver that came out, 391.01.
Yeah.
Updates PUBG's performance in game. So we'll start with your graphics card, 1070. At 1080, you get a 5% performance increase.
Right.
And at 4K, you get 6%. And the 1080, at 1080, well, I pay at 1440p, and I'd get, based on that, a 7% increase. So it's supposed 7%, which is quite high, really. But that's through the graphics driver, not the game, which is interesting.
Well, it's weird that GeForce have to pick up the pieces.
Well, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what is it called? Blue Ink. You know, I know they've got to cater for so many different types of machine, and so many different types of setups that people have.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I mean is, like, why do GeForce have to pick up the pieces for a poorly optimized game?
Well,
I mean, that's not their job. You know, they're doing it. You know,
I'll tell you why they're doing it. Right, because it's becoming an esport. It's really popular. They want to be ahead of AMD, so they say, get the Nvidia card. PUBG will play 10% faster.
Good point. Yeah, good
point.
So
for them, it's marketing.
Card because if you play PUBG, it will run better than if you're on an AMD card.
Yeah, exactly. Or our competitors. So,
you
know, I want to get back into PUBG if it stops crashing. That'd be nice.
To think last time we played that, I just keep getting lockups on the player unknown screen, and then I won't get any of the previous bit where you're all like running around punching each other. I don't get any of that.
I'd rather not have any of that, to be honest. But it was always a gamble whether you come in on the plane or not.
Yeah, and then it's always a gamble if I come in the plane. But then my PC will catch up when I'm halfway already across the map, and it's really.
Should we go to Fortnite then?
Well, I did play Fortnite for a bit, and I played it for a few games, and it was really good. Like, I really enjoyed the experience, but then I kind of thought, well, it is just Player Unknown.
It just reminds me as if Blizzard did Player Unknown.
Yeah, but the art style is really cool on Fortnite. I've liked that right since its announcement. But it's just, I feel like just ripping off Player Unknown for it.
That's why the creator's pissed.
Element. Yeah, it's just, I want to like it. There's a lot of popular streamers that have now.
But you know why they've done that art style, don't you? Esport can play. No, not just necessarily. It can play on a piece of shit.
Yeah, well, no, I agree.
And that's why Blizzard have always kept with that art style.
But if I remember correctly, I think Fortnite is only a 12.
Oh yeah, it's not going to have the blood or gore, and it's obviously with the cartoon style. But
yeah, Fortnite is a 12. Player Unknown is an 18. That's why Overwatch did so well. I know it could run on a potato, but that means kids were okay to play it. They were okay to buy it. They, if parents will sit there and they'll go, oh no, sorry, these kids will be like, oh, I really want Overwatch, and then the parents will be like, all right, let's go and have a look at it, and they'll go, oh, it's a 12, oh, it's okay for him, and it is still violence. Fortnite is still violence. Fortnite is still taking out 99 other people online and hearing them chat and talk, but it's only a 12, so parents will buy it.
But you look at also the technical aspect of it. There's no texturing, hardly.
No.
When they're creating a new map, they haven't got to think about the textures of the bloody houses or the cars or the fuel cans or the gates or the doors. It's perfect. So
it's just, I don't know. I can't get on board with it yet, I'm afraid. Like,
I wasn't going to get it out of principle because I thought it was completely and utter rip-off, and I don't really support rip-offs.
I think we could give it a shot, just as a change-up, but I do feel that I would always go back to Player Unknown. I think... But I
haven't played it yet.
Player Unknown is more fun on an atmosphere that's less pressured. Like, you get a lot of people that stream it, and we've obviously streamed with a lot of other people like playing it, but I find that is more pressure to try and perform well, because you're always conscious of how many people are watching. And I think that game was the most fun when you and I were playing it, when we were sitting next to each other.
Yeah, definitely.
And we were together, and we were just we were acting how we wanted to act. And I think that was the most fun, and that's what I'd like to get back onto. And that's kind of it. That inspired the modded gossip changeover.
Yeah, definitely.
Because well, I was gonna say personally, I'm much more enjoying talking smack for a couple of hours. You know, I just think it's great.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's much nicer. It's much easier atmosphere. But there's a few more things actually I'd quite like to get onto. There's not anything major. Have you got any more points you'd like to bring up?
No, I think we should just roll with yours at the moment. You're on a roll. Let's stick to what you've got.
Okay. Well, one of my first ones that I'm quite excited about is recently my partner has started reading a book which has been out for a very long time. It's been out for a few years at least.
Please, not 50 Shades.
No, none of that.
God.
It's Ready Player One.
Ooh.
Which, yeah, apparently she's saying to me, she's like, "Oh man, you would absolutely adore it. You would absolutely kill it. You would love it." And I've never really given it the time of day.
Have you seen the trailer of the film yet?
No, I haven't seen anything of it, because with new films, I'm more of the person that I like to sit there and think, if this is a film that I'm gonna like, I'm not gonna watch anything about it. Like, I'm just gonna go in there.
You're a
like,
risk
I know
taker.
the premise, and it's just the way I like doing things. I don't like. We've all made those mistakes. I used to work with someone, I'm not going to name them, that basically when not Last Jedi, the one before, Force Awakens came out, he was watching it all the time, all the trailers, and he was watching everything, and he was reading up about it, and he was getting spoilers, and he was just like, "Oh, I want to know what happens." And then he saw the film, and he was like, it was shit. It was the worst film I've ever seen. Now, we all know, I don't care what anyone says, The Force Awakens is not a bad film. It's not the best film. Don't get me wrong.
It's not the most original, I'd say.
No, it's not the most original. It is A New Hope. But what I mean is, it's not the worst film. But I really enjoyed it because I didn't watch anything beforehand. And Last Jedi, I watched one trailer and was like, good, I'm liking the direction, even though the direction was completely wrong and I fucked that up, right? And I didn't go in there watching all the trailers and then watching all the best bits. So then when the film comes on, I'm like, yeah, I've seen this bit. Yeah, I knew this happens. I knew this was going to happen. So that's why I quite like it. All I know about it is I've got the little blurb here, the IMDb post.
Yeah.
So do you know anything about Ready Player One?
I've seen the trailer and I've read the book.
Oh, you have read the book. So
yeah.
Basically it says the film is set in 2045 with the world on the brink of chaos and collapse, but the people have found salvation in the Oasis, an expansive virtual reality universe created by the brilliant and eccentric James Halliday, who's played by Mark Rylance. I'm not sure who that is. When Halliday dies, he leaves his immense fortune to the first person to find a digital Easter egg he has hidden somewhere in the Oasis, sparking a contest that grips the entire world. When an unlikely young hero named Wade Watts, who's played by Ty Sheridan, decides to join the contest, he is hurled into a breakneck, reality-bending treasure hunt through a fantastical universe of mystery, discovery, and danger. Now, that blurb there, I'm going to watch that film. Like, that is everything that I would want from a film. Is relation to video games. It's set in the future, so it might have some sort of cyberpunk feel to it. Not quite as dystopian, but Easter eggs in games, I like finding that sort of thing. That's going to be a film that I'm going to watch, but apparently that comes out on the 29th of March, which is not that far away. That is 29 days away.
Whoops. Yes, it is. It's not long.
Oh, no, it's 30 days away, because it's 27th now, yeah. And I'm excited about it. I think that's going to be one. I haven't even read the book, and I think it's going to be great.
I personally, if I was you, I wouldn't watch the film. I'd just read the book. I am one of these believers that the books are infinitely better. The only thing that's come close, in my opinion, is Lord of the Rings.
Do you think Lord of the Rings was a good crossover from the novels?
They still missed a few bits that I wasn't too happy about, but yeah, they did a good job. There's no Tom Bombadil. He's like essential. No. What the hell? So it'll be good, but I'd read the book first, personally.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got a few things to go. I'm going to watch Ready Player One. I don't know. I'm probably going to read the book before I watch it. I'm going to go through a few things.
The only problem is, right? Say the film's shit, and you read the book. Everything you visualised in the films will be as you're reading the book. You won't be able to help it. Whereas if you read the book, you'll make your own visual world in your mind, and if the film's different, no problem. But if the film's shit, you've just had an hour and a half to 2 hours of basically trampling all over a book, which I don't think it's fair.
You do bring up a good point. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to bring up the new releases for February 27th, which is actually, well, this would have been a couple of days ago when people are watching this, but I'm just going to bring up the new releases. I've got them all here. On PS4 and Xbox One, you've got Immortal Redneck, which sounds like a game that I would probably enjoy, which is old school first-person shooter with roguelike mechanics. All of a sudden, I'm not interested.
Yeah, roguelike mechanics yet again.
So, Gravel on PS4. That looks like some sort of, like 4x4 racing game. You got Moss, which came out today, which is a VR title, and Malacca, which has no description, but apparently that came out today. That's on PS4. Last week was Sword Art Online. On Xbox One, you've just got Immortal Redneck, so the other ones are PS4 exclusives. Switch games that came out today. Payday 2. If you've played Payday 2, Payday 2 was fantastic, but I'm not sure how that's going to be on Switch, seeing as we had a massive... Well, you didn't, I did. I had a massive problem with the right stick on a Nintendo Switch playing Doom.
Yes.
I don't know how you found it.
Because I've had a Switch quite a while now. I've kind of adapted to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can play now quite comfortably, but
it
it takes a while to get in a position where you can. So
I imagine it would be absolutely excellent with a Pro controller as well.
Yeah, and I mean you can play it wirelessly with a Pro.
Yeah, I think it would be good. It'd be cool to play, but you know, if you're going to sit down and play with a Pro controller at home, you might as well get it on a next gen console.
Exactly.
You the reason you buy it is so you can play it out.
Yeah.
So when you're not at home, and you can't really play it out with a Pro controller unless you're sitting, for instance, on a plane.
No, I have a feeling that Nintendo's going to make new controllers.
I
they're
think so.
Change it.
And they can. Need to do is they need to switch they need to switch the buttons with the analog stick and that, like the Wii U, and that's all they need to do.
Yeah, and it's easy. It's easy.
Left analog. Yeah, left analog stick, golden, absolutely comfortable as anything, beautiful. The right analog stick is just too low. But sorry, let's move on. Sorry. The piece for PC, we've got Into the Breach, which apparently has got a Metacritic score of 92%.
Yeah, it's made by the guys at FTL. It's a follow-up. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty cool.
And FTL was really good. So this title is like, it's turn-based. It's like XCOM.
Ooh.
Kind of like XCOM.
I like a good XCOM. Oh, and another. Yep.
But also like Advanced Wars. Did you ever play Advanced Wars on the?
No, I didn't. I did see that. I have seen that about a lot.
It's got the simplicity of Advanced Wars, in terms of it. But the strategy's still deep, so you'd like it, I think.
I think I might give that a go. But that's all the games that came out today that are according to this Metacritic list.
Yeah, not much really.
Another quick point I'd like to kind of end on, because it's quite funny, is apparently the moon is going to get a 4G mobile network.
Why?
Apparently. Don't know. It was just on BBC News just now, and I thought, that's something I've got to mention. Because I don't know why you would need it. Maybe it's for the astronauts that go up there and think, I really want to check Facebook. While
I think we need to end the podcast on absolute bullshit, and that is absolute bullshit.
What? So the moon to get 4G mobile?
Yeah.
Network?
What?
I can back that up. I can literally back that up as well. That's not something that I've just made up, just kind of, tweak your nipples about it. That's. In fact, if you go onto the BBC News website and then click technology, it's the headline. It's Vodafone and Nokia lay out plans to put a 4G mobile network on the moon in 2019.
What a bunch of pap.
Do you know what I mean? It's absolute horse crap, isn't it, really?
So they're going to spend loads of money firing a rocket for it to land on the moon.
Yeah.
They'll use Elon Musk, well, Tesla's new rocket, I suppose, which is very impressive, but yeah. Okay, 4G on the moon, great.
But yeah, I think we're going to end on that. We're going to talk about a little mod of gossip and, basically thanks for listening to us. We're going to be doing this every two or so weeks, as we say. But thanks for watching us, and thanks for listening. We really do appreciate it, Yeah, we actually do appreciate it.
Yeah.
We are genuinely really sort of warmed by either people in TechSentinels that
the people that take the time to watch our content. It's just great.
Because you could be watching anything at the moment, but you've taken the time to watch this, and especially if you've got to this part of the video, you deserve some serious props. And remember, say pumpkin and you get that Skullgirls key. Don't forget that.
And there's 2 words you can say: pumpkin or, and the other word is blumpkin.
Or blumpkin, but don't research that, especially not on a what is it, Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the sort of virgin video or the maiden video of the channel.
The pioneer.
Yeah, the pioneer. So please, please keep in contact and smash the subscribe button so you'll get notifications from us. I think there's a button at the top.
And the little
right there
bell
to
button,
click.
so when we bring
That's
out
the
a new
bell
video,
button.
you'll get the notification.
Yeah, and like the video, because that really helps, like, for other people that kind of sit there and go, shall I dedicate my time? If you actually like the video, the thumbs up kind of shows other people that it is worth watching. If it's not worth watching, then by all means you can thumbs down it, because that's your opinion and that's your right as a consumer on the internet.
But instead of thumbs downing it, please tell us why you didn't like it, so we
tell
can
us how we
improve.
can make it better.
I don't, thumbs down I don't mind, but if you could just leave us a comment, even if you didn't like it, then it would really appreciate why.
Just say I really didn't like Stu's hat, or I didn't like the fact that he was vaping on camera. Like, that's fine, and I won't. We will take it on. But yeah, I'm really happy that people have watched this far. If you have watched this far,
Yeah, you're like a 5-star gold winner.
yeah, you are. I'll make little awards and medals.
You could 3D print them. That's for in a couple of weeks'
oh.
time.
Right, a couple of weeks' time, we've got a subject. If there's a subject that you want us to talk about specifically, or if there's something that you've seen that's actually like piqued your interest, and you're like, I wonder what their opinions are, because hopefully you kind of got a feeling of how we are, like what our sort of opinions are. We're not 2 identical people, If there's something that you actually want us to talk about or research, let us know. Whether it's a DM in the comments, anything. We're on Twitter as well. I'm Beardysaurus on Twitter, and you've got, what's your Twitter handle?
AliFairs13, but I think it's going to change.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, talk to us.
Yeah.
We like the communication. We like it to be open.
At Modded
yeah.
Gossip.
Yeah, at Modded Gossip. We've got a Twitter as well. Like, we've got a Twitter. That's going to be updated a lot, because now the whole smartphone thing has kind of come into play.
Yeah, over the last few years, the smartphones exploded.
Yeah, they have. But yeah, just let us know what you think. Like, all feedback is much appreciated. Ali, I think you should sign us off with some nice dulcet tones or a nice inspirational quote.
Really? You want an inspirational quote?
Oh no, I don't want an inspirational
Here we go,
quote.
folks.
I want an Ali inspirational quote.
For evil to succeed, all it takes is for good men to do nothing. Peace.